Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How are you, Brian?
Been better.
Been better?
Yep.
Well, at least the day is still young, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or lunch break or lunchtime. I want to thank you right ahead for making time for our audience to be here while you're at a conference. I really appreciate you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. So how was your whole weekend? Was pretty busy, hey?
Yeah, pretty busy. I was all over the place.
Yeah. Well, here we are. It's another day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Tracy Seeley because she was my co-pilot as I went ahead and did 15,000 words this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so today I take a break and just plugging away. So thank you, Tracy, for being there. So, which I love the fact that this week we're going to talk about relationship capital and knowing when others are taking advantage, and today's friendships. So I cherish my friendship with Tracy. I cherish all my friendships with you and everybody. And it's just really awesome to have a variety of friends for different occasions. And, you got everything set there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm just listening to you.
Yeah. So anyhow, my brain is a little fried today. So yeah. So friendships, relationship capital. I know you've got only you're very particular in your friends in your circle, which I've learned over the years is very important to be of that mindset.
Well, I just don't take any crap anymore. Like if somebody's toxic or fake, I have no room for people like that. And
yeah,
I think that this day and age that might be a little bit too brash for some people or whatever, but I just don't, our lives don't get any longer. You know what I mean? And so why beat around the bush and play games and all that? I don't have any tolerance for that.
I can concur, especially writing my memoirs the way I did. I put up with a lot of shit, and at the end of the day, it's a matter of I could have saved myself a lot of time in the long run had I,
Right.
realized I had choices. So hi Ray, nice to see you. So it really is. I wish they had these fundamental knowledge when we were younger, such as relationship capital and what it is in a friendship that why do you have it, or what's a purpose and motive,
Right.
I never, changing schools as much as I did and stuff, I never took stock of, like, I didn't have any hidden agenda to make friends. I just wanted to get along. I just wanted peace and love around me. And yet I didn't realize that just meant, hey, Helen, that's one of my yeah, she's trying to proofread or trying to figure out some of my mumbo jumbo. So I want to thank her for being the back end of helping me out there too. So thank you. But it's one of those things I've never actually had motive or, what am I going to get out of making this friendship? What's in it for me? I never had that. I was naive about that for a long time. But then even if you're naive, eventually you just find out why they're your friend, even though if you didn't have any motives.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that too with my brother being who he was and being a celebrities of all different sorts. I realized that a lot of people and the girls that liked him because he was attracted, that wanted to get near him, it's like, you're the sister, like kissing up to me or being really nice. It was like, you could see that shit a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I'd be nice to everybody, but I was always cautious to say, I know I don't have any motive, but it's always like, what's their motive? Why do they want to help me? Because some people do take the content of help people where they're at, give them something that they don't need. But you're only doing that because it's going to benefit you.
Right. I
So
mean, I wasn't raised or whatever, and it might be a character flaw of me, but I just withdraw myself from people I can't stand being around.
yeah.
I don't sugarcoat it. I don't try to get to the situation. I just withdraw myself, right? Because I'm not going to play it out to be something that it's not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to be cordial and whatnot, I think is very fake. That's at least my personal view.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather withdraw myself from the situation. Otherwise, I'll probably say something that person they're not going to like.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, could it be said that my social circle is a little bit smaller than what it could be? But it's like, how many of those people are actually willing to? How many of those people would you be willing to call late at night anyway? Right.
Right. Or feel compelled to.
You know, like they always say, it's like, okay, you know, those people that you would call if you were in jail that would bail you out of jail without asking questions, right? Like the most extreme things that you might do, right? That's not a long laundry list of people, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're dealing with very sensitive things in your life and you just need somebody to be there for you so you don't fall, you find out real quick about who those people are.
Yeah.
And who those people are not.
Well, you know, and one thing I do notice is that, and I mean, I'm guilty of this also. So, I mean, I'm only human, but, I do try to reach out to people, but it's amazing if you spend all the time reaching out that when you don't reach anybody out, how often do they reach back?
Correct.
And that's a really good barometer to realize where you sit. Because if you're calling somebody constantly for 3 weeks, and you don't hear from them that one day, you would think that you'd say, you know what, I missed that person that day. Let me call them.
Right.
And if you don't, so I do that test a lot. I disappear. I become an introvert, and get back. And I see who cares and who checks on me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I find out nobody checks on me unless I check on them. But you take that to face value. But Ray, I'm glad you said that. It is deposit and withdraws.
Yep.
And and Tracy asked here, do you think that there's ways to teach our kids this topic starting in elementary school? It would if they would have a curriculum for it, but we know that that's not top priority for them. They rather see chaos and confusion among children's learning, so that hopefully that keeps them from growing or being all they can be.
I would say mentors, and I think that we talked about this previously, like with subject matters or interests that your son or your child might have, Tracy, where it's like, okay, somebody that they look up to, but somebody that's not going to give into things, right? I mean, somebody that's going to see the character, they're going to see the integrity, they're going to see who somebody's true being is, right? And it's not that they're trying to get anything from them. And role models are a great example of that, right? In terms of like what a friendship is, what it's not, what defines that, which is going to be different for everybody. But in those times of need, you find out real quick who your friends are and who they're not.
Which Tracy says.
Yep.
Haha, your true friends are the ones that show up.
I just think that the ones that are willing to tell you like it is, the ones that are willing to challenge you, they're willing to give up, that it's like they might be willing to say things to you that not everybody else will. I think that's an important component, instead of everybody just playing along and what they really want to say is not what they will say, because they don't want to be perceived by people differently than anybody else. They'd rather just fit in and go underneath the radar than to stand out. And that seems very artificial. Like you're hiding or concealing your true feelings to get favorable opinion amongst others.
Well,
I don't like that.
No, I don't either. And just yesterday, or no, I don't know when it was, but I know that I had another friend I was talking to this morning that, I've been in similar situations she has, but yet, every situation is a little different, but pretty much the same. And I basically told her, look, I'm going to tell you how you got to look at the good sides in this and let go of the bad. And, I told her things that she probably didn't want to hear, but, I'm going to say, I'm going to
Ellen
say,
says that's right, Brian. It's kind of like sitting back and watching from a distance the groups of individuals who claim to be, and the thing about it is that I'll it might not be great, but I'll call that crap out.
yeah,
Like especially like in a business environment where somebody says, well, they don't want to personally do business with you, but they're going to refer you to every one of their family members.
yeah, yeah.
And I love it when I remember a groom from Chicago that was referred to me by several people. I wanted to call it on him, and it wasn't to call him out. It was just to really get understanding. And it's like, it's one thing if the words that are coming out of your mouth are truthful and honest. It's another thing if you're blowing smoke.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, so how do you plan on sharing that information? I'm just curious with a family member. You won't do business with me for your own wedding, but you're going to refer me to all your other family friends. Help me understand that scenario about how that's going to work. And he didn't have an answer. And I'm like, so are you making it up, or are you just trying to smooth it over and end the conversation?
Right.
Just be honest with me here. Well, because if you have to sugarcoat it, I don't want to be a part of your event. Period.
Right.
I don't. We should be able to be, if you expect me to be honest with you, I would hope that in return. Period.
Absolutely. And the thing is what better sincere referral than you experiencing yourself? You're not talking or hyping. You're saying, well, this was my opinion. Yeah. And can stand at it. And so, I don't have any room for that either. No. Helen says, I think, go ahead.
I think that in elementary school, they can incorporate or teach it by assigning role models in higher level classes. I don't know enough about the elementary school system, to have an opinion one way or another. I just know that what really needs to take place won't, because of public opinion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Public opinion. How was the convention? It's okay, Ray. I mean, it's only day one. I didn't sleep very well last night, so I'm experiencing it different than I normally would. So,
we know Brian's got to get good sleep. That's for sure.
I do. Yeah, I was up all night, and it didn't bode well for today. But anyhow, we're moving on.
Yeah. So, it really is a topic of, like I said, everybody, you should be cordial to everybody, but our energy either align with people or they don't. And that should be a great indicator of your intuition that, but like I said, I'm one of those that I don't have a motive why I want to be somebody's friend. I either feel their energy and click, or I don't. And I like to experience the relationship as it goes on a journey like ours. We met and we said, let's do a show. And I mean, we're both growing. We both get excited. We're both supportive of each other. And we haven't preconceived of, well, where's this going to go and what we're going to do later with it. We just had that energy. And I think that's where people mess up. We have friction with somebody and we're still trying to, we're going to be friends, or we're going to hang out with this friend. It's like, where does it get you? It gets you nowhere. Like if there's anything in my life I've learned, and the toss and turns and the relationships and my story of my life, I learned those lessons enough, God, that please let me move on, And so I started, and I mean, all these people that we have in our group, finally, I let go of, resistance. And now I'm among people that I love, and that I don't have to explain myself. I can be myself, and I can evolve as they are too, So, thank you, Ray.
I look at people's character, and it's like, if somebody's talking a big game, all I need to do is give them a few months or a few weeks, and I'll, if I'm friends with them on Facebook or have some kind of connection with them, I'll just check up on them and see if whatever they said a couple weeks ago is actually true.
Yeah.
Because it's what you do without anybody looking. Like kind of like those famous quotes where it's like, what you do behind the scenes is what you do, on stage or in your daily life, like publicly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to project something that even you don't believe, well, I over the years, I've been able to filter that out, right?
Yes, Tracy, you are a low maintenance friend.
And that doesn't bode well for me. I just like, if your character is questionable, what else about you is questionable?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to shout her out without calling her out. Tracy, this weekend, she comes to me on a situation, and I told her, hey, if you keep thinking that way and you don't do nothing about it, you don't know what's going to happen. You got to do something different if you want something different.
Yep.
And I was very proud of her. She went ahead out of her comfort zone and did something, and it was better than what she expected. And I'm very, very proud of her. You know, I feel like this whole book thing, you know, I'm reversing engineering. I'm going to publish something. Let's just say if it's A, B, C, D, it might not be the greatest, but because I said that, I'm like going through the motions and I'm going to do it. And I'm learning so much. What's blessing is I'm learning my character, and I'm learning that I still like to try to be perfect, or I still like to say that's not at the standards that I'm used to, and all these things. And so I'm having that inner battle of yes and no and yes and no. So I'll probably, you know, my next freaking book is going to be about the battles and the struggles and the excuses and the woulda, shoulda, couldas. But reverse engineering is a wonderful thing, because if you go, and I had to tell my sister today, she's going through some situations, and I told her basically that it's just like when you move from one house to another. When you are in a place that you're not happy, you got to focus. The reason why I'm going through this shit right now, because you're thinking of the excitement of the new house. You got to clean up your stuff here before you go to the new house, which is your brain of, look, if I'm leaving this shit. And one thing I did do in my life is I had to recreate myself many times over, and also leave thoughts that didn't serve me and take the ones that could get me through the darkest hours. Right. And that's one thing I have done is I have just started over and let go and perfected and taken the things that I like here and there and educated myself in these different things. And I've always leveled up the person I was to where I wanted to go, because, you know, feeling like shit and being bad attitude and getting myself in these situations, I just had to say, okay, next time it's going to be like this, you know, like a puzzle. And so same things go with friendships. If they're not working, fucking let them go.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse my language, but let me see. What's this? Would you want? They want royalties. No, they're going to have to pay me royalties. What did you talk about? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, yep. Helen.
You know, and so it really is one of those things where if you feel that someone is in a relationship asking more of you and you can't ask of them, that's another sign too. And I mean, like Helen, she wants to help me with my book, and she's just been great. She doesn't have the Google Drive to help that way. So she's wanting to help my old school way. But that's just how she is. She loves to write. She loves to help. And that's how she is. And I feel like, gosh, what can I do for her? You know?
Right.
I mean, that's just an automatic response for me, because I'm not used to people, you know, wanting to help me without me trying to do something back.
Right.
You know? But I don't say, oh, now I owe her, because that's not how, you know.
Yeah, the whole measurement deal, you know.
No, we're not going there, Helen.
The whole measurement deal, like they're keeping tabs, like, you know, yeah. if I do this one thing for this one person, they better get me back.
Yeah. Well, and I've been in those relationships, or had former relationships with people that they feel compelled that if they do help, then you owe them, you know, out of what they did. And you know, that's manipulation.
Yep.
And I would fall into that manipulation and be naive before, but not no more. Like I said, you know, 55 years old, I'm older than you, and I'm proud that you're younger and you got this shit figured out way before I did. Well, I figured it out, but I wasn't strong enough to stand in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew better, but I knew I was delaying that new house that I wanted to buy, you know, because shit, I got to clean out cupboards. I got to do all this to get over there. You know, right. I mean, trying to put it in people's layman's terms. And it really comes down to that. We've got to take the out of our life, because with that, you don't have room for the good stuff. And same thing goes with these friendships. How are you going to find the new friends down the block if you're stuck with these over here that make you miserable? You can't do it.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Oh, oh, that's that's actually the link to my to sign up for my my book, or my whatever.
Yeah.
Brian is a cute unicorn. Yeah, he's unique. So, hey, when does your is it next week? When do you start your improv?
So it's on Wednesday. The first course was canceled.
Aw, bummer.
Tonight it was canceled due to a lack of signups.
Aw. You should have told me. I would have signed up. I'd be the clown in the class, but they'd have to kick me out. Aw. But anyhow, so, if you guys have any input on this, we'd love to hear from you. We appreciate always your participation in our conversations here.
I think that this is a learned behavior. And this is not meant to be like you get skeptical about everybody. Like the difference between somebody that lives in a small city or a small town, versus somebody that lives in a metro area. I'm not talking like that skepticism,
right?
Where like you're unsure of who's safe and who's real and who's not, and who has their own agenda. I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about though is that where you can just feel that something's off. And that this person has an ulterior motive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a learned behavior that as soon as something like that happens, it doesn't mean that you don't trust people or that you don't wear your heart on your sleeve. But I think that after some people abuse it, you reel it in a little bit, Well,
it's funny you say that because the way I've handled it or the way I've done it is I have learned for me that it's better that I don't allow people to know who I know or what I know until I like you. And then I tell you, you know what? I can help you with this. I can help you with that. Because even though I might be considered a top earner in a company and I have things that will blow people's socks off, I don't want everybody to be my company.
Right.
And I have found that, flashing things. I mean, even just when, putting on something about the LA Tribune, it's like people are coming out of the woodworks, it's like, why, what was wrong last week before I announced that or whatever? It's like, it's one of those things where, I don't even care if I sell 100 copies of my book or I do or I don't. Whereas some people will go, oh man, royalties, or oh man, I gotta blah blah blah. I ain't worried about any of that.
Well, it's the flavor of the day where it's like, ooh, now that this person has this shiny new bauble, that now they're appealing.
Yeah.
But before they weren't. It's just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And
now I have this new whatever that I worked my butt off for, and now you perceive me different. But you're going to use it for your benefit. Get the heck out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah. The transparency of some people that are just shallow like that, it makes me very, very sick because it's just pouring out the fact that, well, good example, Brian, it never fails. I start losing weight and people are like, you're looking good, blah, 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 blah. It's like, just don't go there. Just don't go there. You didn't care about me before.
Helen says, I think we have all fallen as victims into the manipulation tactic in both friendships and relationships with significant others. It's a learning experience that allows us to grow and move 2 steps forward. And I think, though, that it becomes second nature, Helen, is that unfortunately, the more severe and the more heartbreaking it is, the better, because now you have, what's up, Jerry?
Hi, Jerry. We loved having you on Friday. So
yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, yeah, go ahead.
The more painful it is or whatever, I think one of the things you come out of that with is, number one, you survived it. Number two, you don't regret anything you did, but you look at it as a lesson, and it's reinforced every time that whatever those triggers are, whether they're mental or physical or body manifestations, whatever those are, once they trigger, not to go back there again, because that's your redemption for all the pain that was caused by it.
Yeah.
you don't go there anymore. And it's so second nature because you've done the work on yourself to see it,
Yeah.
feel it, and then know where it goes if you comply with it.
Well, like I said, I'm having a better relationship. It's been about a week talking to my sister. It's a better relationship where my triggers are not there, and she's still being herself, and I can see she's there, but she doesn't have that power to trigger me because I've done the work. But I also know that that when she tries to manipulate, I'm checked out. I'm like, okay, check, please. Like, I'm not going to stay there no more, and might be a rite of passage, my age, whatever. But I'm grateful that I wouldn't listen to my intuition most of the time. I already knew in my gut. And I go, no, let me just deal with this. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Your body knows before your head does.
Yeah.
And that should be your sign.
There was a buddy of mine, a very close friend that retired from the industry, and we've been to war together in terms of helping each other out with events. And when I had my car accident, he was right there. And then when he had to have emergency surgery on his foot because his motorcycle fell on his foot in an accident, I was right there for him. And I remember one time when we've done workshops together, we've spent thousands of dollars on training together, at workshops where we're honing our skills. And I remember one time when these people came out of the woodwork to, want to set aside time with him to take him out to dinner and talk to him about this and that. And I'm like, okay, they're only doing it for what they want to get. Mm-hmm. They're not doing it because they sincerely actually want to be around him.
Right.
And I'm like, get out of here. Now, the reason why they didn't ask me is because I don't relate, you're barking up the wrong tree because I'm not going to give into your BS. Yeah. Right. I know that you don't care about me. It's what you're not going to pay for and spend the hours honing a skill that you think is going to be given away for free. No.
Just like my lingerie businesses, I would do a yearly anniversary party, and it would be a great bash. I mean, I'd have 200-300 people show up every time. And I always loved that and was honored. But it was like, you know what? All these guys know how good I take care of them. Like, I always gave a bunch of free stuff. And if you bought, you even got more free stuff. I love giving a lot away. I didn't care. But I also made good money. I ain't going to lie. But what I'm saying is that, first I'm like, oh, it's for me. No, Lynn, it's because you treat your people right. I mean, I accidentally scheduled one of my anniversary bashes on the day that my college girls and nurses were graduating. You know what they did before the graduation? They all came to party. It was like, we can't miss it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Mother's Day weekend, the day before, and there was a run. Doesn't matter. They all show up. They're all like, we're not going to miss this. And so, it's how you make people feel. And the fact that they don't want the next anniversary thing when you see all the memories and the signatures. They want to make sure their names are there and their things are there. So, it really is, there you go again, taking care of those guys. So, it was guys and gals, okay? Ay, Dios mío, Jerry. So, no. But anyways.
He's looking out for you.
He is. How could I forget about Friday?
He's looking out for you.
I know. So, it's the realization that when people can see that you have no motive but to be kind and to be in their space, then you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of. Well, but when people come out of the gate and even friend you on Facebook, oh, hey, we got people that are in common, and I think what I've got here can help you. Excuse me?
Yeah. It's always, it blows my doors off that with their insincerity and inauthenticity, it's always like it falls within the same verbiage or language.
Right? Yeah, it's like
fast, vague, or nothing, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to spend time to talk, whatever. I mean, they always show up the same way when it's inauthentic and not real. you
Yeah.
know. Hey, Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
And it's kind of like when, you know, on some platforms, as soon as you become friends with them, then they're pitching you. And it's just like, wow, okay, this is really authentic. You're just waiting for that invitation to go through for you to pitch me on something. Or when somebody calls you up and it's like, no, this isn't a sales call. And then they want to pitch you right after they said that it wasn't. It's like, get out of here. Get out
Yeah.
of here. You
know, I do appreciate more people, and Ray Higdon even shows this, but I do appreciate somebody to say, hey, Brian, you know, I know we don't know each other, but can we get to know each other? Or do you sell something? Because I do. Maybe we can, you know, do referrals. But the fact that you're acknowledging the elephant in the room is huge with me. I appreciate that verbiage,
right.
You know, or better yet, go to my Facebook, make sure I don't have a dog that died, a parent that died, or I'm sick with COVID. Before you call me, say, hey, it's great. I like your wall. And I'm like, I just telling you all the shit that I'm going through, and you're like, hey, I'm like, no, that right there smells insincerity to me now. So,
okay, Brian Kelm says Jesus.
Oh my goodness. So,
but wow, Ray.
Yeah, Ray, you really bring a lot of ray of sunshine to the group, and we really appreciate that. And so we thank you for being here. Absolutely.
It took us 31 minutes to bring out the Ziploc or lip lock. You know what I mean?
Ziploc, yeah. So anyhow, it really comes down to, what do they say? Sometimes you find friends where you least expect it, you know, like actually being human to somebody, being, you know, kind or helpful, just to do that. And some of the best stories and some of the best relationships are those genuine things, you know, something out of the back of your truck falls out and somebody chases you down to get it to you.
Right.
And it's like, wow.
Well, and everybody's equal. You know, whether it's your humble beginnings or your backgrounds or whatever, there's a connection. But when that all changes, or somebody starts to appear to be different, it's okay. We're all going to change as we go on in life. But does the togetherness exceed the separation?
Right.
All the things that bring you together versus all the things that separate you. And if those wear away, whatever they might be, well, so be it. You know?
Yeah. I think time to time it is nice to revisit old friendships, you know, and whether it's just send a little card, say hi, or just a text or something, because that's nice to do when there's no reason to do but to do it.
I think it all depends on the circumstances and who it is.
Right. But I'm just saying that it is nice because we have had some good friends in our life that, you know, they did their thing, you did your own thing, you know. But they're also the friends that if, you know, how you have somebody pass away or this happens or you get sick, they're the first ones that call you too, you know. So really it's nice to build a deposit of being kind. And thank you, Tom, for sharing, of being kind without any expectations back. You know, it's just like if I had this book to write and I got to publish and I expect everybody to buy it, that's not the expectation. I'm doing it for different reasons. And again, it's not it's not what you expect out of the outcome. Because I feel like if you do something good, you might not be able to do something good for that person, but then you go ahead in the line and pay it forward to somebody else because somebody else did good to you. Right. And I think that's what makes the world really nice, is because, you know, I don't even remember the story or who said it, but the gist of the story was always somebody was doing really kind things and their motive was, well, because someday I hope that somebody would do these things for my kids or whatever, you know, like, because the law of the averages, you know, you do enough kind things, you know, things come back, but that shouldn't be your only motive to do it, you know. And that's where people go wrong in friendships. They have a motive that's so apparent that it just ruins it. ruins it before it even gets started.
And the frequency in which that they ask a request, that'll tell you what their motive is.
Yeah, I hate to say
like
this.
if they keep making a request, I mean, if it's just like they cannot, like they're obsessed with it, or they become very assertive with it, right? That's going to overpower what you feel their intention might be.
All you're reminding me is going on freaking dating sites and the guys that just want to show you pictures. It's just this really, it's right. Like, and then I said, I'm not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, kind of person. Next. Yeah. And all my profile said is looking for friends. I didn't mean with benefits either.
Well, and especially if they prompt you for something you didn't request.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
I didn't ask for this, so why? No. I mean, obviously all the spam and all that would apply, but it's like I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
And if they know nothing about you, just like published authors that we know, right? They'll have random messages from people that have no freaking idea that they actually have published books and they're New York Times best-selling authors.
Yeah.
What an idiot. That they're making them look silly.
Yeah.
Where, well, if you're looking to write a book and it's like, one of them has on his shelf right behind him in his own studio. And these people are total clueless. Like, they're just copying, pasting, or whatever spamming rationale they have for sending their messages. It's assholes.
I love it. So,
and I love it. Like, one thing I've seen about people that take advantage is that they ignore things asked of them, and they don't want to be
accountable.
They're very, I don't know, like they slither, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you start creating a narrative in your head. It's like, okay, they come on hot and heavy, and they don't let off the gas until they either get what they want or you tell them to go somewhere.
Well, it's funny because somebody makes friends with you because they know that you're somebody that's somebody in a company, and then you go and support this person. Yeah. You support them and you support them, and they know you're somebody, but they don't know exactly why you're in that position. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's funny how all you did was give to them, and they're still not getting to know you. Yeah. And that's why I love the mystique. That's why I love not saying, I'm considered a top earner in a company. I mean, that's why I think I love people not knowing so many things about me. And I mean, I'm putting all my old dirt, but you know what? Just like a snake, I got new skin. I got tough skin, and I've got a skin that I only let certain people in, but I will love everybody. I will respect everybody. I will give people more credence than they do of me, but I know I'm genuine. So,
and I think that one of the common things is that nobody is perceived as one that's inauthentic or disrespectful until, like, it's kind of like the reservoir is full until they prove otherwise.
Right.
Where it's like everybody comes with a clean slate. They're like, everything that's coming out of their mouth, we're keeping tabs of, right? Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, we're keeping tabs of what comes out of their mouth and how they show up every day.
Right.
Are they in accordance with the words that come out of their mouth and how it shows up, or how they present themselves? Or it's kind of like the equivalent of like one of the best ways that I've heard of somebody offer a tip to a server, okay, is that they will put the maximum amount of the tip on the side. And this actually happened, and it was very, very smart, is that every time, like, I don't know what the amount was, but they told the server that here is the maximum tip you're going to get for serving me. Throughout my stay and my experience, if there's something I deem that could have been better, like my drink or whatever. Now, the person wasn't harsh, but in terms of how they wanted to be served, right?
Right.
They would take $1 away. And then whatever's at the end, that person would get for a tip. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing here, right? You have a reservoir of respect, integrity, character, but then for everything that they do that goes against that, you take a
notch.
knock against it, right?
Yeah.
That reservoir, like in our deposits versus withdrawals, they're withdrawing from it.
Right.
Eventually that coffer is going to become empty.
Right.
Now, that coffer didn't become empty on its own. It came from what wasn't there for you. Just like with the tip, $1 goes away, or whatever that amount goes away, with something that they didn't deem that person was fulfilling for them.
Yeah, that's a great.
I mean, everybody shows off with thanks, Ray. I'm just sharing experiences and how my mind works. But when everybody starts off with, nobody comes into our life, in my opinion, that we already have a tainted opinion of, right? In my opinion, we all start, with zero, like how this person shows up at first glance, but then through the course of time, they're either living into what they said who they are or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they've lived into it, like, here's who I am, let me prove it to you. They're not saying that to you, but that's what they do by their actions.
Right.
And it's either they do or they don't.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it becomes transparent to people after a while, which, by the way, I had made a mistake, but she's willing to come in on Friday, is Cheryl, Jerry's wife. So I wrote on the calendar wrong, but anyway, so I'm excited about that. And again, they're great people. They are epitome of keeping their word and being true to who they are, and transparency. And it's so nice to be surrounded by people that, keep you accountable for that. So I'm super grateful, because, like I said, we are human. It's just like if you're a Christian and you go to church, because you go to church and you're a Christian, you got to do more than just outside the church. You got to speak and breathe who you want to be. And it might take you a while to speak and breathe to become that person, but don't be that person that's just always give, or be the person that takes. You give, expecting something back. No. Shame on you. Same thing goes with, receiving or whatever. You really have to look at the fact you got to have those checks and balances.
I think that when all you do is give, you find out very quickly, and then you guard it, just like with your heart and all that. You guide it a little, you guard it a little bit more, firm it up when it's been disrespected.
Right. Now,
Now, we all put ourselves in those positions to be vulnerable with that. But the minute that it's not used after you put it out there, you get a little bit more cautious about putting it out there.
Yeah.
Or you put it out there, but you put it out to the certain people, not everybody.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so I really feel that I have learned by so many people out there how not to be. Yep. And I'm very grateful for that. But it also has allowed me to try to reserve showing people who I am, because as kind as I want to be, everybody wants to be my friend, but it's because they're like, I'm hanging with Lynn, and I realized that that in Clubhouse as well. And what am I doing? Spending time to validate someone else. I'm like, right. I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need that.
When there's an ulterior motive, those situations don't really last long, because their whole goal is to get to somebody as fast as they possibly can before they realize what's actually taking place.
Yeah.
And when you cut it out, and when you're like, nope, not going there, they can't get away from you fast enough, because they could be doing that to somebody else.
Right. And it is a sad commentary, but
Absolutely,
it's so true. But I don't let those experiences hinder me from trying to be kind to the next person, because going to the next person, you eventually do find your tribe. Oh, you'll have to talk. I got 2 doorbells here. The doorbell and then the dogs. So, yeah. Anyways, that's life, right? That's just the way it goes. But anyhow, so it really is just nice to do your checks and balances and take stock of the ones that keep coming back without bringing anything to the table.
And I want to encourage everybody, based on what you've been through in life and what you take a stand for, who's harmed you, who's hurt you, what you learned throughout that. Take stock in that. Write down a few things, right? What does taking advantage of look like to you?
Absolutely.
Because your heart is your guide. Your heart is your guiding force, because if it happened to you once, you don't want it to happen again to you if you've learned something.
Right.
If it's officially became a lesson, you guard your heart just a little bit closer, but also though whatever feelings you got out of it, like body sensations or whatever that is to trigger you, that is, your antennas are up when it comes to that. 100%.
Without a doubt.
Yep. What was the hashtag?
Let the dogs out.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian's full of them today. Or Ray is full of them today. I love it.
He's fired up.
Yeah, for a Monday, absolutely. So, you would think from kindergarten going up that, we all have little stories how we feel like, he didn't let me play with the toys, or he didn't share, or that didn't share. The one kid brings the toys and he's always sharing. Why don't you bring a toy and share? You would think that we'd learn those fundamentals as we go, but it really is something when you get the masses, especially on a social media platform, that all they're doing is going through the masses and seeing which fool can I get today.
Right. Yeah.
And
who can I con, or who can I, offer false representation of myself to today.
Right. Right. And so,
and good luck ever appearing authentic and real to that person ever again.
Yeah. It's just like if you get people that they come around to promote themselves, as opposed to not, their motive isn't here to just actually watch us and learn something, but what can I get out of it?
Right.
And
well, it's kind of like those like those business mixers, right?
Yeah.
Back when people got together, and there was at least one in every group I was a part of. Maybe not in, for anybody that went to those that's watching, all of our loyal listeners and catching the replay. But I remember real estate agents come in, didn't even know who these freaking people were. They only had 10 minutes, and then they made sure that every single person at that mixer had a business card. They didn't say two other words to them. How inauthentic.
Here, call me. Here, call me.
Here's my business card. Okay, so let me get this straight. You don't have time for us, but you want us to either buy or sell a piece of real estate that is going to be the single most, expensive asset we're ever going to buy. And all you have is 10 minutes? Huh. I don't think so.
Yeah, and
your card is going in the freaking garbage.
For some reason, that whole doing business with people like and trust, there's a couple signs there. How can you like somebody that didn't have time for you?
Right.
And how can you trust them?
Okay, so hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially equates to, here's my card. Here's my card. Well, wait a minute. Now you're appearing to be a sleazy salesperson. I mean, now here's the thing. Each one of us has a choice in how we show up. Now, the difference is everybody's going to perceive it possibly different.
Right.
But I don't know who would think different to be like, wow, yeah, that's about right. That's what real estate agents should normally do. Go to a business mixer, have no time for anybody, and leave making sure that everybody has their business card.
Ulterior
motive for your business card.
Yeah. Ulterior motive at its best. Hey, Tom, actually, I wrote my book in a day and a half. So thank you. Now it's the cleaning it up and getting it, all the other stuff, which is probably what you've been doing with your stuff, right, Brian? I mean, you have your stuff written, but you got to get it all go through and whatnot. So yeah, I think that takes longer than writing, actually.
It does.
So it's like, but
plus it's not the only project that's going on. Life is also
right.
So,
Right, exactly. So, but I do plan to meet some personal deadlines on it regardless. So, yeah, my first run out. So, thanks for asking, Tom. But yeah, it's like I appreciate Tom noticing that I had said that's what I was going to do this weekend. So, it again, that was personal, what he just did, that goes to show he was listening and being a part of the show, and that's what I mean. It's the little things you do that really add up for that bank of friendship.
well, hold on. The little things you do consistently.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Once in a while or here and there is not.
No, 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 no. Like I can't diet or fast, do intermittent fasting one day and expect it to work if I'm not going to consistently intermittent fast.
Oh yeah.
Or, yeah, it just
If I only have ice cream once a week, okay. Doesn't mean doesn't mean that your workouts that your workouts are irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah.
But how about an apple instead?
Yeah. And, especially if you're looking for results, if you're looking at results of building, a relationship with somebody, and I actually like to get to know somebody first before, like good example. I mean, I really didn't know Jerry when I did an interview with him, but I loved him. I just love his energy and all that stuff. And he was sincere, him and Cheryl, anything you need, Lynn, whatever. But like I said, that's nice to know. And I know that they're sincere about it. But for me, I'm honored by that. But I'm not one to say, as a matter of fact, what can I get out of as a matter of fact, I think what people I really love so much, I can't barely ask them because it's not about what they can do for me. Like I can't even, and it was so funny because I was like, I think Brian's geeky and I think I could ask him about headsets, but like, I don't want to bother him on the weekend kind of thing. But I'm like, because it's friends talking about this, but you know what I mean? As opposed to, I was like, I'll just put it up there. If he answers me, fine. If he doesn't, that was no big deal. Because I appreciate people's time and I knew it was your weekend. So that's how much my friendships mean to me. Like, I mean, I'll try to text and say, can we chat? Instead of really trying to call unless it's an emergency.
Well, and especially like I've got plenty of coaches and, people like for acting and master of ceremonies and stuff. I mean, if it were, there he is.
Hi, Sky.
There's Lynn's lip lock partner.
Yeah.
And is that I have friends, like if we're just shooting the crap or just seeing how life is going, that's one thing. But if I'm asking this person to allocate hours of their time for something a skill that they train for and something that they coach, that's totally unreasonable to be like, hey, I want you to allocate this amount of time with me just because we're friends.
No.
Not in this day and age.
Oh, heck no.
People's time and expertise is worth something.
Absolutely. And you should respect it because how the heck, if you don't respect their business or time,
correct.
How do you expect them to invest in your service?
Well, plus anything that people get for free, they don't value. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
What did Tom say?
Tom said, oh, wait. When it's real, it's okay to ask.
Yeah. I don't think you should. I depending on the context, though, it's just like
right. Yeah. No,
I don't necessarily agree with that, but
Well, it's just like if I have a friend that's a car mechanic and it's the weekend and I have a problem.
Because when is the relationship real? Right.
Like right.
That's a subjective thing.
Well, any person that goes to biz or anything, right? They're always like, oh yeah, I know. Brian, you need what? Oh, wait, let me use one of these cards. Oh, hey, you need that plumber? I got that plumber. Because what they're doing now is they're trying to say, oh, you see, I'm trying to generate. Let me help you with that. But it's just a card exchange. It's not a real friendship. They're trying to build their bank of checks and balances.
Because let me tell you what is that if it's not right for them, it's going to come across as abrasive. It's going to come across as strong, right? Because we might perceive one thing, but the only perception that matters is how they perceive it coming across.
Yeah, this is a good one.
like taking a lawyer to lunch for info instead of straight up like.
Yeah, but you know what, Tracy? A lawyer still at lunch would have been charging you the minute they sat down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I mean, here's the thing is that when they say it's just like when you're like let's just go with that lawyer scenario, right? Is that when it's just like, no, if they sense the humility in your voice, then they feel it. They're willing to give you that time, right?
Right.
But if it's something where it's like you're trying to get something out of them and they feel that, that's what puts them on high alarm, right?
Absolutely.
Where they feel a sense of obligation that somebody's trying to get something for nothing.
Right.
That should not make anybody feel, comfortable, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because they either are trying to get something for nothing or not. That's
right.
it. There is no other option.
Yeah.
Friends can say no to each other without consequence. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Except for, never mind. I was going to be a smart ass. And there he is, Mr. Coachman.
Coachman. Yes.
Good to see you. But, that is absolutely true. It's respecting each other's boundaries. Friendships should have boundaries of knowing, but I really don't feel comfortable asking something of somebody that has certain skills.
Yep.
To expect them not to value their time, appreciate their time. But then when they turn around and ask you, because, I ain't got no time for that,
I mean, one of the best things that I've ever heard from, my mentors and coaches where I'm ready to pay and they're like, your money's no good here.
Yeah.
But I still like, hey, can I make a donation to a charity you like, or can I take you and your family out to dinner? I mean, there has to be something I can do for what you've given to me.
Right.
Right. But that's a perception thing. That's a humility thing. It's a feeling thing.
Right.
I just don't think like when the relationship is ready, then I'll ask, well, how long is that?
Right.
It's not like it's a metric on a freaking scale.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, today's the day I'm going to ask. That's not written on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more of a feeling than it is a specific day or time.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, it's nice to do things for friends. I love doing things for friends. I mean, matter of fact, I can't wait to help Scott set up his StreamYard. I'm looking forward to that. I'm super excited that's going to make a difference. But that's something I am looking forward to doing. He needs that. I can help it. That's different. That has nothing to do with mutual, exchange of things you like to do, as opposed to, imposing and expecting someone to have time, when you can't have that specific carved time.
I think that one thing to point out here too is that whoever you're with and talking to, that you're on the same page, that personal time is personal, business time is business time.
Absolutely.
You don't mix those two.
Right.
Now, our identity, in my opinion, is the same professionally as it is personally. I don't think that we're any different of a person, right? But when it comes time where it's like, okay, when a lawyer is off the clock, it's just friends, right? If there's a simple question, but it's not like, hey, review this document.
Yeah.
It does. No.
Yeah.
That's when he's on the clock. That's when he charges for his time, or her,
Yeah.
So remember that most people don't set boundaries and offer everything, but then resent when asked. Yep.
Yeah. So we are running out of time here, but I was going to say, once upon a time, for 15 years, business was pleasure for me. So what could I say as far as what I did? But, I don't know if Jerry's here or not, but we'll leave that alone. But I thank you for having this conversation with me, because there's different levels of things that we passively, as a society, we continue thinking it's okay for people to abuse and manipulate people. And as you get older, we just don't see it that way.
Well,
we see it that
don't ever fall into the trap that you should feel guilty by calling out somebody's dishonest dishonest intentions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't ever feel bad for calling it out because you're just protecting yourself.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm usually transparent, but I'm not really transparent about my skills or the knowledge or who I know, because I protect who I know, what I know. As in, when we're in the friend zone, you'll know about it. And and that's how it served me well. I'm getting out of my shell, but I'm standing firm to not allow people to try to take my nice side, because they don't want to see the Latina side. Trust me.
Right.
I can use that when necessary. I want to thank everybody for being here, and you have a great time at your convention.
Thank you.
And I hope you get better sleep tonight.
Me too.
All right. You guys, we'll see you day 2.
See you
Have a good
tomorrow.
one.
Day 2.
Bye.